So, there's a lot of stuff here that they changed. There's a lot of new versions of the standard match. So, there's a turn 0 version. Basically, what it comes down to is white has an incredibly unfair advantage for like the first 3 turns, in which they can make their kings invulnerable, and set a trap that guarantees that at best you can get a draw. Otherwise, they'll win. And so that is kind of unfair, but it's mostly unfair because of how powerful the queen is as a piece with its time-traveling ability. So a variant called Princess reduces the queen to only having rook and bishop moves, instead of the previous interpretation, which is the queen can move in any direction she wants, which included included triagonal and quadrigonal movement. So that's one way to do it. Another way is to give black a turn 0 they can go back in time to, that happens before the game starts. But I think the Princess one is, in my view, the optimal one. Is it simplifies the queen. And as I think you'll recall from our last battle, when I had 4 queens on the board, that kind of got out of control.
I mainly recall from the last battle is a butt whooping and a headache. So I am prepared for this one.
Okay. So let's do a standard Princess.
So, okay, so this is one where queen can only move horizontally and vertically, right? There's no diagonals, you said?
Oh, no, a queen can do bishop and rook moves. So the
bishop and rook moves.
Bishop can move diagonally. Rook can move. And so it's exactly the same as what the queen does in a normal game of chess.
Right.
But the difference was when there's an additional dimension added, right? You can only move diagonally, like across 2 dimensions. But when you have 3 dimensions, you could move triagonally, shooting off in a weird diagonal that encompasses all 3 dimensions as it goes, right? It's triagonal movement. It was interpreted that the queen could do anything she wants because she's the queen, and could go in triagonal or quadrigonal if she wanted to. This interpretation is that she just has the rook orthogonal and the bishop diagonal moves. No triagonal, no quadrigonal. Meaning that if she wants to travel through time, she can either do it Jurassic style by diving straight down through time, or she can go at a diagonal in time, meaning that she moves orthogonally across the board while also moving that same distance through time into the past. Does that make sense?
Maybe. So basically she can occupy the same space through time, or she can, if she were to move,
if she were to do a bishop,
if she were to move like 3 diagonals, she would move 1 through time and then 2 diagonals?
No. That's a knight. No. You're thinking about a knight. What a queen would do is, a princess, I'm sorry, not a queen. But what a princess would do if she wanted to move through time but not stand still, is she would move in a straight line. 1 space for every moment she goes back in time. So if she goes back in time 1 turn, she also moves 1 space forward. If she goes back in time 2 turns, she also moves 2 spaces forward, which is exactly the same as what bishops do.
Oh, gotcha. Can't understand now. It's more visual. Gotcha.
Yeah. There are these focused practice maps where you can play with just 1 piece to learn how they work, if you want to do one of those.
Yep, I'm good.
I don't know how to interpret that answer.
There's no way to interpret. It will require a lot of brain power for me to focus, so I'm mentally prepared to do it.
Okay, you want to do like a just bishops match, just to practice bishops?
No.
Okay.
We're good for the full thing. It'll be my second game, so I'm a seasoned veteran, clearly.
That's right. You're a chess expert, so I
thought I was until I play this game.
Hell, you do at least have this going for you. You are thus far the only person willing to play me.
I think the concept is really interesting, and I'd like to be able to say that I know how to play 5D chess.
I know, right?
So this is my crack at it. Oh, is that your passcode on screen?
Yep. Next time somebody says like, "Oh man, there's like that guy's a genius. He's playing 5D chess." I'm like, "Dude, I play 5D chess. It's not that hard."
Clearly, that's the intent, that I look good.
It's just like rocket surgery.
Love rocket surgery.
Oh, all right. You're playing as white.
Okay.
Another new piece that they added in is a new version of the pawn called a brawn. And I'm not convinced that I fully properly understand that piece yet. Um,
The brawn.
yeah.
Is it like, can it move one extra space?
No, it has these extra options for taking pieces in the past or taking pieces in other dimensions that I had thought the pawn already had. I hadn't realized that the pawn was missing it. So the pawn's move structure is kind of weird. Like a pawn can move, it can do its forward move, but it has to attack at an angle. But it can only go forward. So describing the angle as being a forward angle means describing the opponent's back line. And so if you want a pawn to be able to travel through time, you have to have a forward and backward to that. Since nothing can go forward in time, right? There is no future for it to jump to.
Okay.
The pawn can't go forward in time, so it can't make a diagonal move. But when there's
So
more than
back.
one timeline,
Yeah.
you could describe one end of the timeline line as my end, as the game does with the arrows, and one is your end. And in that respect, you could say that a pawn could move across dimensions as a forward motion, and therefore its diagonal would be to move across dimensions and attack into the past.
And as it is right now, when pawns go back in time, do they back up or do they still move forward?
No, they have to move, but the key is they have to move in a forward dimension, not a forward direction.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, and what the bronze do is it unlocks this option for pawn to move forward in a dimension and across into time, or forward dimension and diagonally into another reality. It unlocks these, and it's only like a couple instances where it would be used, but it's instances I always assumed the pawn could do that it turns out on a strict examination of the rules are not actually legal moves. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. All right.
For some reason, I lost your chat room. I don't know if it's Twitch or me.
Let me see if I can throw a horn of meat on the chat. Seems to be working.
Must be me then. It's weird. It's like I don't see anything on Twitch anymore except for you. Like your stream. I don't see any of my other followed streams. Strange.
Yeah. Oh. Hungry kitten. All right.
So how do you typically play this? Do you typically play the game like you play a normal chess game until something that you don't like happens and then that triggers you to create an alternate timeline, or how do you play it?
I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of like the really high level players, and it seems like they're doing that to a point, but then sometimes they don't. Sometimes things go crazy. The last time I was playing with you, I was specifically trying to double scenarios in which I had advantages. So I started off by creating multiple timelines, moving pieces between them, and then like basically stacking queens on that one timeline.
Right.
Yeah, but the more I watch like high level play, the more it feels like they're really careful about their use of timeline, um, because if you create a new timeline, you are temporarily at a disadvantage, and so you always want to buy something with that move.
Because you're like one step behind, right? If you decide to do that.
Not just that, but like you've taken a piece away from one of the boards and moved it to another board, which like it seems like it's a fair trade, um, but it's not exactly. Um, yeah, the advantages and disadvantages are not purely numeric. They're sort of tactical about like how you plan to use the ability to move through space. The wider the space becomes, like the more universes there are, the more opportunities there can be for a piece to find some way to like go rogue and hit a king. Every time you duplicate reality, you're duplicating a king, pretty much, unless you find ways to move the kings off of one reality. But if you do that, then that means there's a reality where you have two kings. And if your enemy duplicates that board, now suddenly you have more weak points everywhere. That said, though, if you do create a board where you have no king and you start duplicating that board, you're suddenly getting a bunch of free pieces that have nothing they need to protect, and they can start flowing out of that to infect other timelines. But it's moving a piece between two universes is an interesting thing because it uses up the turn in both universes. So you have to do it in a situation where you feel secure that the universe the piece is leaving is safe. And if you have a universe that has no king, then that's easy. It will always feel safe because you have nothing there you need to protect. Okay, somebody else is telling me Twitch is acting weird.
Yeah, I haven't seen Twitch chat
All right,
since we started playing. It's really strange.
I'm gonna look at. I'm just gonna open up in a browser window my own stream and see what it looks like. Browser window my own stream and see what it looks like. Oh, I just heard myself talking.
I see the
Yeah,
stream, no problem. It's
connecting
chat.
to chat is being weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's Twitch. I don't think it's you because I don't see any of my other follow channels.
So Twitch runs their stuff on an IRC client for the chat, which is entirely separate from the video stuff. So it may be that their IRC service is down. That's unfortunate. Meow.
I figured we were nearing one.
Yeah, you had a good trap there. Needed to shake things up a bit. Now, it's important to note that while you do have the ability to take turns on that future timeline we haven't reached, you are not obligated to. It's a useful distinction. Sometimes you gotta go with the best of the bad options, right? Fascinating.
Huh. So yeah. Yeah, that was an obvious move. I lost your Twitch entirely now.
Completely? Oh my goodness. This is so frustrating.
If you want, we can just wait till it comes back.
Yeah. Are we dropping frames at all?
I'll see if I can open another channel.
Hmm. Okay. I'm still getting video, but yeah, no Twitch chat. Hattie says she lost video as well.
Yeah, I had to refresh to get video back.
I have a thought.
Twitch just tweeted out that it's down.
Shogun just messaged me too that Twitch chat is dead throughout the entire site.
Yeah. But they
Well,
posted on Twitter too that they're having issues, and there's 400k tweets about it, and it's trending. So it's not you.
good to know. Good to know. I'm showing a 0.1% dropped frames, but everything looks green currently.
No, it's definitely Twitch. You're fine.
At least, everybody who can still see and hear me. Sorry, Twitch decided to choose today to, yeah. I'm sure it's not actually a conscious choice. I'm sure that they're just as panicked and freaking out as all of us. Perhaps more so. They have money riding on it.
Yeah, they tweeted that 14 minutes ago.
Oh, who's a good kid?
Kitty.
My strategic advisor has joined us on the desk.
I love that.
Since Twitch chat isn't working, we're going to switch to cat cam. A little treat for the viewers until they get their chat back.
How old is Not now?
Coming up on 3 years now.
Wow, time
Presumably.
flies. That's crazy.
Well, I guess, yeah, 2.5. She's, it'll be 3 years in May. Based on our assumption of when she was probably born when we found her.
Did you ever have any intent of getting another one?
I never really intended to get this one. She just showed up. So.
Yeah. No, I remember when you brought her home. So cute. Cats are the best, man. Cats have been particularly great in 2020 for companionship and little anti-anxiety fuzzballs.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my turn. Oh, joy. 3 turns. No, 2. 2 turns, I think.
2 turns. Yeah, I opted not to take my third turn since it's not currently in the present yet. So I'm not obligated to take it, and I'd love to see how the other timelines turn out before I make that decision.
Yeah, I've often been called like a chaotic chess player because I really don't care about sacrifices.
I think that's one thing that this game could use is like a little scoreboard of like how many pieces have fallen in battle. I think each team should have a graveyard, like in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, or like real life chess, you know, you move them to the side. You have a real graveyard going on. Did Purunga tell you that I saw my first PC death yesterday?
No, no, he did
So we
not.
wanted to do like a long session to ring in the new year, and we're only like 2 months into our new campaign, and a little willow wisp murdered two PCs back to back. A little CR2 willow wisp, and they were like level 2 characters. It has this ability that as a bonus action it can consume life. Uh, so if they're at 0 hit points, they have to roll a Constitution saving throw, and as a bonus action, they can do this. And if they roll less than a 10, they like instantly die. Which, like, it's not. It shouldn't be likely that they roll lower than a 10. But twice in a row it happened. It felt horrible. It did not feel good to kill players. Are you the type of GM that sees a lot of character death, or
um, so the style that we play, we do allow for character death, but only with the players deciding that they want their character to die. So we don't want the deaths to be meaningless. Like, oops, you got stabbed by too many kobolds this week. All of the character deaths we've had have been like epic self-sacrifices to achieve grand goals. Our general rule is any action has some sort of a cost, whether it's taxing an ability or you're putting something at risk. If you're willing to pay that cost by paying the cost as your entire character, then you don't have to roll. You just narrate whatever the fuck you want to have happen, and that becomes canon.
ah, interesting. I didn't really see any way out yesterday, though, of like those deaths. You know, it seemed pretty explicit. Oh, that's weird. In Twitch chat, it'll let me write, but it won't let me press enter.
Ouch, that is weird.
You keep wiggling out of my traps, distant.
I do feel a little bit better now that I've got like a few universes to dodge around in. I understand why like the high level players play chess until they need to do it, and that's because most of them probably are chess masters. I'm realizing I am not a chess master, and I feel better when I have lots of space. So yeah, the universe's thing is helpful.
I have 3 turns. Okay, okay. Oh, see, that's what my eyeballs don't see. Is that like multiple parallel traps?
Mm.
I think your dad was able to write in chat.
Oh, oh yeah. Oh yes, he is. Hey, hey, Dan. The chat functions were not working, and he said for you apparently, and not is no longer on my desk. So I'm gonna move this back up. That's awesome. Okay, I guess chat is back. This is an annoying trap you've set.
Okay, what are we dealing with now?
Are you familiar with a term called Jurassic Rook?
I am not.
Okay. So, rooks and queens and princesses, but it's notably a rook style move. They move in a straight line. Um, and most of the time, they're inhibited in going into the past because their past self is blocking the path because they have to move in a straight line. So they can't diagonal move to get out of their own way, right? But if you make a move with a rook over an empty space that has a lot of other empty spaces behind it in the past, you can do what's called a Jurassic Rook, and sometimes take a rook all the way back to the beginning of the game from very, very late game. That's why the term Jurassic Rook, because you're sending it like back to the Jurassic period.
Interesting. Okay.
And also it's phonetically similar to Jurassic Park, Jurassic Rook. It might be a lot of people were having difficulty. I've got just a flood of messages about it, but it's fine. It looks like the servers actually are coming back, so hopefully everybody will be able to be back in chat. I'm going to issue my little cheers emote as a test. Those of you who are having trouble with chat, you might want to just try refreshing the page. That appears to be working, and I'm doing a test message to myself. Yeah, it works. So anyone watching that's been having trouble with chat, just refresh the page. It should be fine. Yep. I can't believe the sacrifice you made me do to get out of that trap. That's brutal.
I'll
It's brutal. Ah. You were all worried. Oh. Oh, we're gonna do it like that, are we?
I gotta help myself, okay?
Well now. Okay, yeah. I knew that was gonna be something I'd have to deal with.
You're leaving that top timeline mighty slim.
Oh, right. From your perspective, it's yeah. Yeah, it's in a wacky spot. That's for sure. You had me in check, man. That was scary.
It's likely to never happen again. So I'm just grateful that I got one check, because last time I don't think I got any.
Ooh. Hey, test worked.
Oh, Yay! I had to refresh like 5 times before I could press enter again. Yay!
Yay.
Hello, chat. Okay. So okay. The 2 other boards are interesting.
Yeah. This is a lot of action, and unfortunately, most of the action is happening on my side of the board.
You won't do that, so I'm just gonna do this.
Nice use of your universe hop.
I'm learning. Wait till my 3rd game.
Oh, I expect that you're just going to get harder and harder to play. I'm trying to get better as I go too.
I really like chess, though. I mean, I know I look like someone who likes these like complex new age like adventure RPGs and whatnot, but there's something just so pure and simple about chess that I've always loved. Just basic frontline, backline warfare on an 8x8 board. Pure and simple, yet can get so complex.
Indeed.
And then there's the whole mind games part of it, which is super interesting.
One of the things that really stands out for me about chess is that it is a complicated, interesting game while at the same time having perfect information. Most complex, interesting games like Magic the Gathering, StarCraft, part of the game is not knowing what is going on everywhere at all times. Not because you're not smart enough, you're not thinking about it, but because part of the game is that is literally impossible, which makes the mind games thing really play into psychology. Chess manages to achieve that without hiding stuff, although there is apparently a version of chess you can play online with Fog of War.
Well, chess is basically like an open hand card game, right? It's as if it was like an open hand Magic the Gathering game.
Right.
So like you know what was coming and you have to be more forward thinking than your opponent.
And it would be even more than that. It would be like an open hand Magic the Gathering game where everybody's library is also spread out on the table for everyone to see.
Yeah, and you know exactly what's coming up in what order, right?
Yeah.
But exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like the simplicity.
Or to put it another way, everyone's playing blue.
The control blue deck. I miss Magic. I used to play so much. Then we got mainly into Commander because keeping up with Standard was just too pricey.
Yeah, the cost is what got me out of it. I love the game. I like to play it. I have a brutal deck right here I'm about to pull out of my desk.
Have you ever played Commander?
I have, yeah. I don't have a Commander deck right now, but I have the cards that I would build it off of. Let me show you what I would use as my Commander.
I can totally see you as like a mono blue or like a blue white.
No.
No? Okay, I'm off.
Keep guessing.
I said white because I see you as such like a lawful person.
Oh dear, Snooze.
Oh, I'm so
Sweet
sorry.
summer Snooze.
No, I mean, hey, you're always playing the science birds in Stellaris, so I figured like blue-white would be fitting.
Blue for sure, but the color I pair it with, I mean, you know why I study science? It's to get the best guns.
So
This
red.
this is my blue-red deck, and this,
So red.
of course, it's blue.
Oh
Blue-red.
yeah, because Niv Mizzet is blue red. That's true, and that's all the science techie world of Magic.
Absolutely. Also, I'm going to
True.
switch to my full screen camera here. This this is my boo right here. What? Oh, wrong. Come on. There we go. There she is.
Okay, let me read that. Oh, it's fuzzy. Cost 3. Is that a mythic?
All right,
Legendary?
let me. I'll read it out to you. So this is Joyra of the Gutu. She's one colorless, one blue, one red to summon. She's a 2/2, legendary creature, uh, wizard, and one other type, I think. Human wizard. Okay, but here's her special ability. Cost 2, does not tap her, just 2 colorless, and you can do it as many times as you want. Remove a non-land card from your hand from the game. Put 4 time counters on that card. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend.
Okay, suspend is that thing where you set it aside, right?
So, yeah, suspend is you remove the
Yeah.
card from the game or put it in exile. Is
Exactly.
the current terminology for it, right? You put her in exile or put whatever it is you're taking out of your hand into exile. Let's just, as an example, let's just take another card from this deck here. Yeah, like Deep Sea Kraken, right? That's a 6/6, has a casting cost of 10. It's a 6/6 unblockable. But you can just put that in out in exile with 4 time counters on it. 4 turns later, it comes out and is played for you. And that's the thing. When a card is played by a game rule, you don't have to pay its cost. You also don't have to play it on your turn. It plays when the game rule applies it, which means I could perhaps tap a time bug to remove a time counter and have that play effectively as an instant on somebody else's turn. It's awesome. Yeah. And I love the game. I love the game for all those like neat ways you can mash the rules together and create crazy combos, and it's fun. And it's recreated like really, really fun science fiction-y, fantasy-y kind of things. Oh, was it my turn?
No, it's still mine. I'm playing.
Okay.
It's funny that you bring up like the 6/6 suspend Kraken because I think that's one of the first full decks that I played in college when I started playing. That's like I think that was one of the packs where suspend was first released. And I think that's when I actually started playing.
And the Kraken combo is awesome because Kraken itself, the intent with that one is you suspend it with 9 time counters on it because it has its own suspend rule. But every time the opponent casts a spell, you remove a time counter. That's the special rule for Kraken. But with Joyra, you can suspend it for 2 colorless instead of its normal suspend cost, which I think is like 3 or 4. So you're suspending it at cheaper, it's getting less time counters, but it still has the function that every time your opponent casts a spell, a time counter comes off. And so you can very easily suspend that, and your opponent will summon it for you. Especially if you're playing against green, where they're just like rapid firing spells. Like, my elf summons more elves. You're like, cool, you just summoned an unblockable Kraken for me. Thank you. The only problem I ever had really playing those decks is that a lot of times I have to explain how they work to the person I'm playing against, and people get kind of mad. Ooh, look what you did. before you submit it, I want to make sure I explain properly. Oh, let me switch the camera back so the audience can see this as well. I want to explain properly what that white arrow means. If I can find my chess, there it is.
Yes, for the audience, obviously not
Obviously,
for
for the audience, because you, I'm sure, know.
I
So,
completely understand what I just did.
so we've got the prime timeline, which started at the beginning, right? You're only allowed to have one more timeline than your opponent has. I've created one timeline. You created another timeline, and then later created a third time or a fourth timeline. Now you've created a fifth. This timeline, the game will keep track of it. We can even make turns on it, but it doesn't count. It's not considered real until I create a timeline. If I create a timeline,
It happened last time. I remember now. Thank you,
yeah.
thank you.
If I create a timeline, that'll suddenly become real because suddenly the counts will be balanced. Now, if for some reason there would be some deep reason why I would never want to create that timeline, like for example, if in that timeline my king was in check, and so making that timeline real immediately lost me the game, then you can start doing things like moving all your kings onto new timelines that are behind that one. And since I never dare unlock it, you can basically soft lock me out of a possible victory. Which is part of that technique I was telling you about, which, yeah. I'll try to explain it. There's a thing you can do where you take the queen, you send her back in time to the first turn to take a pawn next to the king. The only move that the player has that does not result in losing is for the king to step forward and take the queen that just took it. So it seems like an awful trade. You take a pawn, then they take your queen, except the king is now in an exposed position in this timeline, and what you do is you take your knight from the original timeline and move him into the past to take the king. Now, that or to put the king in check. That move that you do with the knight doesn't count as real. It goes into storage like this one that you did here. So the black hasn't technically lost yet, but they will lose if they ever create a new timeline. And then white just sends their kings from all their timelines off into... I think they only end up with like 2 kings anyway, with the way that's set up. So they send their kings off into the invincible space, and then yeah, you're stuck. What's so rough about that is that as far as anyone can tell, there does not appear to be any move you can make to prevent it. It's happened so early in the game that the moves are so finite. It was easy to figure out that there's no answer. Okay.
I think I maybe just made some mistakes, but hey, it is what it is. Okay.
Welcome back, Tice. Yeah, Stamps. Joyra is badass. There's no question about it. Like that card. That's why I would use her for a commander deck, right? Is like you get your commander, so I'm guaranteed to have her. I don't have to like fish for her. She's a legendary, so it's not like it doesn't help to have more than one in your deck anyway, except to make it easier to find her. Commander feels like cheating with that card. It's like I start off with her. Let's just put everything in spin. At that point, like I'm just gonna fill my deck with Eldrazi or something stupid. Just suspend them all. I do like though. I like how the suspend mechanic really feels like time travel. It because you get to see the future, like all laid out in a row. Here's the order they're going to be happening in, and then if you have the right creatures, the right cards, you can start manipulating time counters to change the order. The best one is there's a counter spell, a suspend counter spell. It's like I don't exactly counter your spell. I simply put it in exile with time counters. You still get to cast it when it comes out. I did submit my moves, right? Yeah, okay. I'm easily confused. I anticipated that this might be a long game too, so I know that like Pongo might be late for Borderlands, which is good. Which this all works out. It all works out good. I'm trying to be careful not to get cocky, because I'm tempted to be like, dude, I'm doing so good right now. We're gonna 24 now. We're gonna do 26. We're gonna do 28. We're gonna do 30-hour stream. Yeah.
Seem pretty energetic still, so that's good. That's a good sign.
Ask me again in 10 hours.
Yeah. The final stretch.
Yeah. Mm. Did it throw you off that I took a turn where I didn't jump universes?
A little.
Starting to get a feel for how the universe jumping works too, it seems like.
I'm trying things.
The history view can sometimes be helpful, or the parallel view, when trying to figure out like how.
Yeah, I've used the parallel view. The history view just kind of confuses me. Parallel is kind of helpful, I'll admit.
History view is good if you're trying to figure out how to go through time because, well, yeah. Parallel view, yeah, they're both good. The trickiest part about time travel is that each turn consists of 2 moves, which means each turn consists of 2 board states. So when traveling back in time, you can only go to board states in which it's your turn. So like every other board state is not actually there. Kitten.
Okay. Oh my god, I have you in check a second time. I'm probably still gonna lose, but I feel accomplished.
No offense, but my reaction to that was, oh, thank goodness I can finally be rid of that damn knight.
Damn.
Ah.
I got plans in a few of them though, so
Yeah, and your knight move on the what I guess from your perspective would be the topmost board. That was a smart move.
I gotta make some space. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that and I I had a terrifying way to put you in an unresolvable check
I saw that.
if you didn't do that. So
I saw that.
yeah,
Yeah.
well played.
This is where I start to feel like I'm losing control.
Tice says, imagine if you saved this game for last. I'm actually pretty happy with the way the schedule turned out. I think everybody's getting to play the games they wanted to play.
Now I am utterly confused.
I've got some action going on your half of the board now, barely. The Black Pawn has crossed the Rubicon.
Oh man, I feel like I kind of screwed myself. And I see how now.
This is much more intense than our last game.
Getting better, getting better.
Oh.
So, what happens if I like send a king into another timeline?
The king goes to the other timeline.
Huh. Interesting.
Here's the rule. You only ever, to win, have to take one king. It doesn't matter where or when. You can take him in the past, you can take him in an alternate timeline. It just has to
Yeah.
be a valid take. And so if you move a king into another timeline, you're very likely just created a timeline where you have two kings, which means two opportunities for the pieces on that
Yeah.
timeline to,
But then the other
to win.
one that I left him from just becomes sort of like a play, shuffle, escape board type thing.
Right. Like the pieces don't even need to be there anymore. They can start systematically evacuating or whatever. Or they can push the attack if, there's a chance they can take the king that the opponent left there.
Because that's something I didn't play around with last time. But I feel like you definitely need to kind of pick and choose when you do that. And I messed up with that third timeline because I basically just straight up lost a bishop to that timeline. Whereas you didn't lose anything.
Yeah, I'm at a stage of the game now where I'm not looking at how can I make moves where I don't get my pieces taken. I'm looking at like how can I have my pieces taken in ways that don't suck as bad, or perhaps that benefit me and move you out of position. I feel like I have the initiative in 3 of the 4 active timelines right now. I feel like it. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's how it feels. I'm happy with those moves. And if everything goes to shit, I'll just Jurassic Rook and try again.
Okay.
That's one of the great advantages of early night moves is you get them out of the way. So there's this spot that not a lot of other pieces are gonna go to. So it creates these nice holes that your rook can just kind of slide over one space for, and then pull the Jurassic Rook and dive back to the beginning of the game. There's some board states back there too, like before I took some horrific losses that I would not mind having again.
Humph, 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 humph. Oh boy, ranks are getting slim.
Good job stopping me from taking your knight immediately. We'll see how you manage that next turn. Uh, I've thought this all the way through yet.
Oh no.
Thank you, Tice. I
Oh, if I click on it, it checks. What?
If you click on it, it shows you why you're in check, so that you can see what's creating the problem.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. This can be really important if you're in check from other dimensions or timelines or from the future. Because if you try and make different moves, it'll say either yes, that's a valid move, or no, you're still in check. But if you don't know why standing still is also bad, you can just click that and it shows you. Yeah, it is a nice feature. Don't worry, Tice. Pongo is for sure one of my guest adventurers in the Borderlands. But he, I believe, has a Minecraft thing that's going a little over. So it's okay that this goes a little over too. We'll.
Yeah.
I want to play this to the finish. This is a really interesting, exciting game. I want to see how this ends.
We're pretty close. My God, I'm so stressed. That's not true. It's pretty chill, but like it's a chill stress, you know? It's a how do I wiggle my way out of this when obviously you knew that I was going to take the queen with my knight. So I'm trying to see like that second queen down below is kind of stressing me out. So, yeah. I wish that I could click on your pieces to see where they can go next turn, you know?
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm not saying I'm never going to do this again, but it's not going to be anytime soon. This was a special scenario where I have 4 days off in a row, so I get like 2 days to recover from this. Without that, I wouldn't be willing to do this. 24 hours is a long time. But I'm getting first-hand experience of exactly how long 24 hours is. Damn it. All right.
Yeah, I think that whole board was just in a bad spot.
Do you know why my queen can't immediately take your king from that move? And it's because we're playing with princess queens instead of original queens.
Yeah.
In the old game, that would have been checkmate right there. But yeah, freaking princesses. That's okay. I like it better this way. It's more challenging. The queen isn't this ultimate destroyer piece. So, yeah. It is a 3-day work week. Oh, I heard that Ralph Macchio is actually part of that show. I thought it was like completely a spinoff, and then I saw an ad for it. It's like, holy shit, I recognize that guy. He looks old. Older. He looks older than he did in the original. Everyone from the movie? That's amazing. Welcome back, Patty.
Oh boy, oh boy. I apologize for everyone that's tuning in for, Borderlands. It's just so tense.
I'm confused now. I thought that move would have put you in check.
Which one? The queen one?
Mm-hmm. I thought a diagonal dimensional move would take a king there. Apparently, I am wrong. And I don't know why.
Oh, I am in check. Now.
Why did that move put you in check? I'm confused by that. How were you not in check?
So by moving my queen to kill your pawn, I'm suddenly in check.
Yeah, I'm wondering why either your queen being there or my pawn not being there is the deciding factor.
I'm not sure what my can do.
Or is it just any move? If you make any move other than taking my queen. But no, that should still show you being in check.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff put in check right here. It's kind of scary. Okay.
Unless the algorithm's messed up. Oh, you're mostly ready. Okay, cool. Drink snacks. So, all right, cool. Timing looks good. Maybe the game's algorithm messed up? It's supposed to stop the game if it's impossible for you to win.
So there's a way for me to win. I believe. Or
Right?
at least get out of this one. I'm trying.
I thought I closed the trap with that queen. Because if the only pieces you have that can take my queen that's threatening your two or your king, a king who, as far as I can tell, I don't think can move out of that situation. I think he's completely blocked in by the other king, which is why I was able to do this. Because if your king's the only one who can take my queen, taking my queen immediately you lose because of my other queen. Oh, I see it. I see the combo that solves it. Shit! I forgot something. Yeah. At this point, if if I was one of those Russian chess players from the Queen's Gambit show, I would say draw.
I don't see what I can do though. Um,
If you don't see it, I'm willing to accept a draw instead of a win, and I'll show you what you could have done.
I'm
But
I'm looking. I'm looking. Borderlands can wait. Man.
I'm gonna try out the origin that they added in the expansion pack, the necrophage, where you have a primitive species that you've elevated to be your workers, but every 10 years, a group of them gathers in the temple, and then they come out as your species instead.
I feel like I have to take that queen somehow. Oh, that's the same thing that I just did. My brain is doing the same thing over.
Tixter makes an excellent point. It's no surprise that this is the only game on Steam with 5D in its title. It's only a matter of time. Somebody will try to make like 5-dimensional checkers, 5-dimensional Go, something like that.
So it automatically like plays it for both.
In a way, it's almost cheating that the computer tells you that, like, when there's a way out and when there isn't.
Oh, for sure. But
But
like, I don't
yeah,
understand why. How come my queen in the second from the top for me?
let me invert my perspective here, so I'm looking at it from your perspective. All right, second from the
Yeah.
top. All right.
So second from the top. How come my queen
Mm-hmm.
can't kill your queen in the top one?
Because that would be a triagonal move. She would have to move one space up, one space to the right, and one space across universes.
Oh, okay.
That would be 3 different directions she's moving, and we chose to use princesses instead of true queens. A similar problem to what I faced earlier when trying to attack you.
Oh man, I'm really not seeing it. I'm assuming that like one of the kings has to. I assume it's here that there's something that I can do. I just don't know from where. Obviously, it's one of the two boards down here.
I was in engineering in the other dimension yesterday.
Is there any way that I can rook in like the top one?
You mean castle?
Castle, yeah.
I don't know.
Can I rook like across dimensions?
I don't think you can castle across dimensions. Rooks can only travel along a single direction. If that direction was the dimension, they would be standing still.
Okay, so they wouldn't be able. Okay. Nope, I did that. And I did that. So what the hell do I do with this damn queen? Ah, that's it.
You found it.
Okay. My
Knew
God.
you would.
I was like, who's the killer? There's a killer somewhere. I can't find the killer.
Oh boy. All right.
Here we go again, chat. Jesus.
The question is, do I play the ball where it lies, or do I go for a Jurassic Rook? And I think the answer is play the ball where it lies.
My plans for tomorrow are actually to play Warhammer and D&D. It's going to be a very nerdy day.
Nice.
I need to spend some time with Purunga and Brutus because I murdered their previous characters, so we need to brainstorm some things. Feels bad, DM. Yeah, Max and I had started a game about a month ago. He's playing like with the Chain Rasp Horde, and I'm playing Stormcast Eternals. We had to like stop, so we didn't have enough time to finish. So we took pictures of everything, and then we have to like spend probably like an hour just placing everything exactly, minutely how it was, and we put like measurement pictures on down. So distance is very important in Warhammer. So that should be fun. We've never had like a real character death in like the 4.5 years that we've been playing D&D as a group. We've never had like a permadeath. So it was rough. It was rough. Dexter's so mean.
Uh, it was all a dream. There we
Well
go.
played.
Game over.
Well played, my friend.
Whew. My, I'm so glad my backup was there, because really, let me tell you what was messing with me the entire time, right? And I don't know if you were doing this consciously or a plan
The
or what.
horse. Oh my god.
You maintained the best pawn wall in front of your king I have ever seen.
Well, see, but that also screwed with me because since I kept pawns there the whole time, I never liberated my rooks and my queen. So that also that limited me because I was like offensive a lot early game, but because I decided to maintain the pawn wall, I never got my big guys out. And that was problematic in the end game because it gave me less flexibility, less escape routes, less chances for quick offense plays.
True. I will point out that the reason that that this is a winning move for me is because, one, you have no piece capable of taking that knight, and two, which actually probably would have been solved by more aggressive moving of your pieces out. But number two is that your king had to come out to take my queen.
Yeah.
How many of your queens are left? Because I don't have any.
I have like all my queens left.
All four of your queens are on the board. I've lost all my queens to achieve this victory.
I never use them, and it was super problematic.
The queen sacrifice
that's what I was saying. That's how I screwed myself. Is I never let them out.
And I know how powerful the queen is as a piece. Like I'm aware, but even the reduced power of the princess is still an awesome piece.
Which is surprising because I'm usually the first to like sacrifice my queen to take a big piece. You know, it's usually my go-to.
I honestly think that in the absence of true queens, if you're playing princess, I think the most powerful and valuable piece on the board is the knight.
Yeah, because it can move different options like
because it's not blocked. Like it has a huge array of options. So do bishops, right? And so do queens. Yeah. Queens have an even bigger array of options. But the knight can't be blocked by their own pieces.
Yeah.
They can dance around shit like they've got a freaking teleporter. So
yeah.
Right,
that was good. That was more fun than our first game.
It was.
I felt a little bit more in control.
We only had 4 recognized in real time lines. There was that 5th that never realized.
And I screwed myself there too because I straight up lost a bishop.
Yeah, you moved a bishop over there, and I was just like, I'm just gonna let that happen.
Yeah. Totally messed myself up there. But it's okay. At least I know what I did wrong this time.
I had prepped for a Jurassic Rook just in case, because there was a timeline back here where I had 3 knights on the same board, and I was thinking, like, if I could replicate that and then just keep those knights alive up until a more current timeline where your king is forward. That was my back. Like, if this knight hadn't been already in a good spot, that's what I was going to do, is try and bring my knights up so that they could cross universes when they caught up to when your king was forward and attack. But yeah.
But I'm proud of myself. I was much more proactive than the first game, whereas the first game I was just reacting to everything that was happening. So
you were, and I think the first game I played as white, right? I played first.
I think so, yeah. I was
yeah. White, yeah. So I was constantly sort of pressuring and on the offense and trying to do stuff. This game you were, and that was awesome and powerful. Yeah. No, don't let anybody tell you that you're bad at this game, because that was rough. That was
like I said, I'm a pretty decent chess player, this is rough.
Yeah,
People
it
typically
makes you
enjoy
track a lot
playing
more.
chess again.
I can't think as many moves ahead in this game as I can in chess. Because in chess, when I'm tracking the timelines, I'm just tracking one. I'm tracking it going forward with the limited possibilities of what the pieces can do. This has so many other like options. Like if we look at like right, my knight didn't actually take your king in the present. It took it one turn ago.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all.
Right? It
I figured after I wiggled out of the last one, taking like two of your queens in one turn, I'd be okay for a turn or two. But the knight just caught me totally out of the blue. So
and I couldn't pull this off back when you had your pawn wall because one of your pawns would just step forward and take my knight. But yeah, this is yeah. So when did the game end? The game ended on turn 16 when a knight from turn 17 took a king in one of 4 parallel timelines. A knight in turn 17 decided that going back in time to kill Sarah Connor was meaningless when you could just go back like to yesterday and shoot John Connor before he got out of bed. All right, cool. Well, this has been awesome, and I think it's time for some Borderlands. A little later than originally intended, but yeah, let's switch on over. Thank you, Snooze, for playing.
yeah, GG. That was actually only 2 hours because we actually only started at like 3:30. So that was pretty
Fair
much
enough.
exactly
Yeah.
what we
So
intended.
GG, a good game.
GG. I will lurk around and hop in when I can. Enjoy the rest of your stream.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.